Hey guys, Jeff here at MACkite.
And Tucker.
And we're excited because we have the Ozone Flow V2.
Yeah, number 2.
That they just came out with, and I've been getting some time on it. And you know, Ozone is a brand that does a nice job of producing just enough where they don't have a lot of closeouts. It's a brand that holds their price well, holds their value well, very durable wing, been in the market for a while, obviously with kites. And
quality, both in production and design, I think is really what I would say about Ozone. Almost everything they put out is really excellent and refined. They're also known, I think, for their subtle performance. You know, it's nothing that screams out at you. You look at it and you're like, whoa, what is that? It's weird, you know? It's very subtle. This wing looks like your average wing, but we're about to tell you about it. It's not your average wing.
No, and you really can't go wrong with the Ozone products. I mean, like we said, you know, it's good quality, good performance, and like you said, not too flashy, but I'm pretty excited about this wing.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. Before we do, let's just kind of break down the build and what they've got in this wing.
Yeah.
And maybe a little subtle changes they made from the V1. For those of you that love the Flow V1, the V2.
Yeah, it just builds on that reputation of awesomeness, I think. Starting at the top, kind of your typical stuff. A bigger handle here. It does have some padding, does have some movement there. Coming into, comes with a leash. Does come with a waist belt, or you can disconnect this with the Lark's head there and connect it to a wrist cuff or a harness. I know Jeff and I, a lot of times, we're riding harnesses, so a lot of times we'll just pull it off, connect it to a stopper ball on the harness. But it is a nice AM steel line. It's long enough to be used for a waist, or you can use it as a wrist cuff. And if you want to shorten it for a wrist cuff, you can just kind of tie a knot in it to shorten it up for that. Coming into the frame here, we have the Performance Dacron. So this is something I would say Ozone is almost known for. They've been using this a long time, and I think it's a good choice for balancing weight, performance, and price. Also durability. It's such a proven material. We've been using it a long time, and there's been some subtle improvements in it over the years, of course. But you get a lot of bang for your buck with this. It's very easy, low maintenance material, and you don't need to pay crazy prices for it. So big fan of the high performance Dacron. There's all different kinds of names for it, but that's really what it is. Inflation system, standard Ozone stuff with the screwed Boston valve. So this guy, if you're familiar with Ozone, you know it. It's got the fat tip plug in here, or if you have a screw-on Boston style adapter, it'll take either of those. It does have a nice big port to dump out quickly, but you do have to screw it in, screw it out, screw it in, which is mildly annoying. We do have 2-point inflation, which I really like. Keeps things simple, keeps things light, low maintenance.
They suggest the strut first, then the leading edge.
Yep, and I would suggest the same. You know, this is the way I do it no matter what the wing is. But yeah, when in doubt, follow the manufacturer instructions there. New for this year, we have the new boom. This guy is a really nice improvement, I would say, over the previous handles. It's really stiff, very lightweight, simple. Again, subtlety here, nice little pad, really good diameter, very comfortable grip here. Great for pistol gripping when you're flying. Doesn't stand off the strut too much, so you're still really grounded in the wing, have that control. And it comes supplied with the wing, which is really nice. You don't need to spend an extra $100-200 on the boom. It just comes ready to rip right out of the package. So
good,
pretty good stuff. Yeah, windows here. Got your heavyweight Dacron or ripstop here, the 3x3, and then 3x3, and I want to say it goes 4x4 down here. Yep. So heavier weight in the trailing edge, just give you a bit more stiffness and won't bag out quite as easily. You have removable battens here if you need to repair them, but shouldn't need to do that as long as you're taking care.
Yeah, just to touch my experience with the build quality, because I've gotten about 3 sessions on this in different conditions. Starting with the leading edge handle, I hate to start there, but I'm going to. A little softer than I like. It's got good spacing, but it's just, if they could tighten this up right here.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of play in it.
Yeah, a little bit of play, a little sloppy in my book, but I do like running onto this. I like the length that they always have these, very versatile. It's not tight at all.
Yeah, you can always shorten them, but you can't make them longer.
Nope. So I really think they've done a nice job with their lengths and all whenever they use that. This typically, I just put it underneath my harness for testing, put it on, and then I put my harness over the top. If I would give them any feedback, I'd make it easier to get this off when you don't want to use this.
Put a pigtail on there.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain to try to get these off and put it all through. But anyways, it does work nice. You know, everyone has their personal preference, whether they use waist or wrist. There's different reasons to do that. The boom, love the diameter, love the feel. Yeah. Very stiff and rigid there. I like it a lot. Inflation system. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of that. It seems a little old school, but if you can get in there right and turn it, they can stick, but sometimes they pop off when you're pumping them up.
Yeah, it depends on your pump adapter.
Yep.
The stock ones fit great, but
yep.
I know you're using a duotone one for the electric pump, and it fit a little bit sloppy.
Yep. Just being a little picky, but I'm going to get into it a little bit when we get into performance, what I really like about this wing. I thought the windows are placed about right. You know, I'm not a real window. I mean, I'm a window fan. They have their place in the market, you know, for looking really quick to see people. But, you know, nothing too extravagant there with a window.
Big enough without adding a lot of weight.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, given their same material they use through the whole leading edge and strut, very stiff, very compact. I mean, it feels very durable and yet lightweight in the hands. So
and smooth too, right? I mean,
it is.
I think that's the sensation I always get from the performance Dacron is like you get that lightweight, that snappiness, but it flexes enough where it doesn't feel like you're riding down a gravel road, right? Where you feel every little bump. It just kind of smooths out the whole experience.
Well, I think that's a good place to start. My number one thing that I love about this wing is its flow. Sounds a little
aptly named.
No, I'm telling you, this wing is a wing that when you get on it, it will kind of disappear. It really just does what you want it to do. It doesn't give you much feedback. Very good on the low end and the high end. I mean, it just feels very flowy, very stable, just very in the pocket feel when you're riding. Like again, you can concentrate on your riding. The wing doesn't give you any feedback. Initially, when I first got on it, I was like, there's not much going on here.
Yeah, it just feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Which could be almost like indicative of it's just an okay wing performance-wise, but then you start ripping past your buddies, and you're like, oh man, I'm going a lot faster than it feels like.
Exactly.
And the wing is just making it feel more comfortable and easy, which I think is a good place to be, where you can think less about the wing and the specific sail angle it needs, and oh man, do I need to, you know, you're thinking too much about the wing. Like, we all just want to go ride and not think about the wing.
The flow, I mean, it like I said, very good low end, easy to engage with. And then the high end of this wing, like I said, I put this through 14 up to 21 knots on a 5 meter for my weight at 175, easy. I never felt like I had to rustle the wing, never felt like it wanted to backwind on me as I was trying to head upwind. It was just like smooth. I mean, very flowy, riding the wave, pistol grip, very compliant, doesn't twitch, doesn't move much. Yeah. Again, a little knock on the front handle. I like this wing so much is that this is the only thing, again, if they could stiffen it up at the attachment, because it does feel a little sloppy at times, and I'd like to be able to control it a little bit when I'm flagged out behind. But axe, putting it up over your head, it has very nice lift. It doesn't backwind down on you. I mean, again, it's a wing where you can really concentrate on your riding and not focus on the wing.
Yeah, so. Loft's great, very smooth, stable as you'd expect for a wave wing. I would say, you know, let's not pigeonhole this as a wave wing. I would say Freeride.
Freeride, too, for sure.
Even as a brand new rider, grab this thing and you'll progress right up into it as you progress. You know, if you're doing Freeride tricks, some cruising high-speed runs for fun. But I would say, its performance shows most in Freeride, but also waves.
It's their workhorse in their lineup. They have the Flux V2, which, you know, we can dive into that a little bit later or do a comparison, but that one's got a little bit more drive, speed, and pop and energy, where this is just like, it's
that one wants to go, and this one's more,
just
chill, let's flow.
Perfect name for it.
I'm going to do, backwind here, a little jibe, little 360 tack, wrap around that wave and rip around. All over, all-terrain vehicle,
All of the above. And because it's so compliant, a beginner, hands down, no issue with it. to I like to call them seasoned riders, riders that have been riding for a while, are not going to feel like this wing's going to hold you back at all. Again, initially when I got on it, I was like, everything just seems good, but there's nothing too crazy to feel.
Yeah.
And the more I rode it, I'm like, I really like that. It's a very unique feel. I don't think I've been on many wings that have that much of just a kind of fades away.
Yeah, and it's smooth. It's stable, but it's also not muted, right? I mean, it's it's not just too chill.
No.
You can really, I mean, it'll rip into a turn. It's very agile when you want it to be, but it all just happens pretty fluidly, I think, which is again, it makes you think like, oh, how good is it? And then like you ride something else and you're like, oh, it does the same thing. It just feels harder or more technical. Yeah. So I think, if you want to level up your riding without having to worry about all the technicalities of those hard to ride wings or the more difficult wings, I guess, this is a good choice.
Big time. And those of you that are really into performance and trying to find the sweet spot with a wing, this wing does like to breathe a little bit. So instead of just choking it in, pushing it, driving it hard, you kind of let it breathe and you can feel that power and that pocket with it. Again, every wing has their little trade-offs and nuances of how they do. Another thing I did notice with the boom, to access the power in it, I do find myself sliding back a little bit more on this wing. Again, that's not a problem at all. It's just something unique to this wing a little bit when you want that power, that backhand a little bit more pumping.
Yeah, the volume of the canopy is a little pushed back, right?
It is a little bit pushed back.
You've got this arc shape. It's pretty flat in the back. So naturally, you're going to be more in the middle of the wing rather than the real flat wings. We want to push up a little bit more. All that volume's up front. So this one, big sweet spot. You can pilot it up from up here, and I would say, choke up here if you're going into attack or something, or if you're looking to ride a wave and just have it float around. This is a great place to be up here at the front of the boom. You kind of threw in a couple of your thoughts on things that you wish would change. For me, I would say, just the nature of the aspect ratio on this wing and its shape. The strut gets pretty long. I mean, I'm 6'3", and this is a 5 meter. So I mean, this thing is getting in there at 6.5 feet long. So I think for the bigger sizes for me, like the 5'7", the biggest size, is not a wing I would really want to ride in waves, which I know that's is the intention. But big wing, long strut, light wind, you get trapdoored, that thing is gonna just trip you up and make it real difficult. So that's a nitpick, but I think, when you do get into the smaller sizes, it's really nice to have that real compact aspect ratio. It makes it really maneuverable and fun. You can just point it anywhere you want without having to worry about dragging a tip. But the downside of that is you do get a longer strut, which can have its own problems. And obviously on the smaller sizes, even if the strut is longer, there's enough wind in those days where you don't need to worry too much about trapdooring it or leaving that wing behind. But yeah, for me, especially in the 5'7", maybe a little bit in the 5, it can be a little cumbersome in the strut.
I think that leads into a good discussion. With the Flow, I think you can get away with just two wings because of its range from the low end to the high end. And again, in my personal, if I put a Quiver of Flows, I would not have a 5. I'd probably drop down into their 3 and 4 range. I think this wing is even going to excel even more in that kind of condition. Yeah,
and then add a 6 or 6.5 if you really want to ride the super light stuff.
Yeah. That's just my personal feel. And how much I like this wing, it's in my top bucket list. It's in the top.
Yeah, I agree. It's right up there. If you want to just bring one wing and you're going to be set and happy, pretty hard to beat.
For all conditions. It is a little priced, a little bit more on the higher side than average. That's something that, Ozone with their quality, their build quality, and they're known for good wings and good products. But that's something just to consider. Again, it is one of, we get the opportunity to ride a lot of wings, and this wing is becoming really high on my list as a wing. And again, it's a wing I think you could have just 2 of them and cover a huge range of wind. And again, I would probably size down a little bit for me, the 3 and the 4. I know they come down to like a 2 point something, right? 7
yeah,
or something?
2.7.
Yep.
Regarding the price, I do think you get a lot of bang for your buck. Obviously, it comes with a leash, comes with a waist belt. Yep. It comes with the boom. So comparing it against something, the closest comparison I would make is be like a duotone float SLS or a unit SLS. Similar materials, carbon boom, you know, both excellent, high performance, high quality wings. You know, and the price is right in there once you factor in adding a leash, adding
all of that,
adding a boom. You know,
and you get a bottle opener.
Up the price. You get a bottle opener.
You get a bottle opener.
How else are you gonna get an Ozone bottle opener?
They're pretty stylish too. We'll have to take some B-roll of that.
I got one on my keychain. You know
yeah,
that.
they're nice. Yeah. And it comes with a good bag. Everything packs away well. So there you have it. A wing that we're excited about here. It's the V2 Flow. A wing that I'm sure will not disappoint anyone who buys one of these and has one. It is definitely a great driver and a great wing to do a lot on. So again, it's been here, Jeff at MACkite.
Yeah, I'm Tucker.
And shoot us a chat, shoot us an email. We'll be happy to help you out and get you on the flow. Enjoy the stove.